that's the essence of who you are. And I hope that you realize the miracle that is you. I'd like everybody to take a deep breath. You can close your eyes if you like. You don't need to, it's up to you. I want to take a moment to move out of our heads who we think we are, the ideas of who we're supposed to be and how we're supposed to act and how we appear to others. Those things that keep us trapped in our minds and trapped in an identity that isn't necessarily who we really are. And let's drop down into our hearts. Let's be with ourselves in our hearts. Take a deep breath and breathe into your heart and let light fill your heart. And breathe out any resistance to the love that is you. Take a deep breath in. Breathe into your heart and allow yourself to feel, I love you. I love you. Breathe out any resistance to that thought. You might notice some feelings that come up when you say, I love you to yourself. Don't judge those feelings. Don't try to resist them. Just notice and let them go. I love you. Breathe in. I love you. And breathe out any resistance. Breathe in. You are worthy. Breathe out any resistance. Breathe in. You are enough. Breathe out any resistance. Breathe in. I love you. And breathe out any resistance. Let the light in your heart grow until there's a big bubble of light all around you. You are surrounded by love. That is the essence of who you are. Allow yourself to sit in your own love and also to feel connected to the love that is all around you. Breathe in, I am love. I am connected. I belong. I am enough. I love myself. Okay, when you're ready, move your body a little bit, come back into the room, open your eyes. I don't know about you, but for me, I felt the energy just drop, like just come in to settle into my body. So the way today is planned is I'm going to talk and share a little bit about my self-love journey and just thoughts about self-love. I'm going to share 8 steps that I have found helpful on my journey to loving myself, and maybe those will help you. Time permitting, we might do a guided meditation, or we might just take questions and, you know, like just share. So we'll just see how all of that goes. One thing I want to say before we start is that there's not a correct way to love yourself. Just like on the path to spirituality, there's no right and wrong. There's also no correct way to love yourself. And wherever you are on your self-love journey is right where you're supposed to be. Even if it doesn't feel good, what we have to understand is that when something doesn't feel good or where there's pain, that's just communication to you. That's just telling you where you can work on healing or where you need more love. Okay, so it's not something to judge in ourselves, it's something to love more. So, first of all, there's so many people that we will love in our lives, but because of the nature of life, you are the only person that will be with you your entire life, every moment of your life. You are your partner for life. You're the only one that you know will be there until the very end. And so, how about creating a loving, wonderful relationship with yourself? That person that you know is going to be there for you and with you, right? I want to acknowledge that we're all different, and I want you and to honor yourself and what feels good and right for you. In other words, take what works for you and leave the rest as we go through. I'm not a person that normally refers to the Bible, but this just hit me. One of the most popular verses in the Bible is "Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself." Jesus said that in Matthew. And I just want to take a minute to acknowledge that the first order there is to love ourselves. It would be pointless to love our neighbor as ourselves if we don't love ourselves, right? So this mandate starts with a deep self-love that would be worth emulating out from ourselves toward others, right? I don't know about you. I grew up in a church where we were told that I was told that I was a worthless sinner and given that message, and taught to put other people before myself. But I want to say that Jesus did not say love your neighbor more than yourself or sacrifice yourself for your neighbor or your family or your friends. He didn't say to put anyone else before yourself or to consider their needs first. So for people that have been taught that message, that's something maybe to think about. Jesus said to love our neighbor as ourselves. So how do we love ourselves? My self-love journey really began when my daughter was born. Until that point, I'd taken sort of a perverse pride in not loving myself and not thinking I was good enough. Like I kept trying to be good enough and kept feeling like I needed to kind of be critical of myself so other people wouldn't be critical of me. Can anybody relate to that? Yeah. We are taught in this society to judge ourselves, like everywhere we look. I have a friend that says there's something like, we receive something like, she did a informal experiment, taking down notes about all the negative messages we receive each day, like through media, through friends, etc. And she came to the conclusion that we receive over 386,000 negative messages about ourselves every year. I can share the link to that. It's an interesting observation. But when we're getting that much negative input, when we're always hearing we should be different than we are, whether it's in commercials that tell us to lose weight or that we smell bad, or, you know, all the different things that make us feel insecure in ourselves and in who we are, we start to have a conception of ourselves and we get stuck in our heads, right? So what I want to create is a world where we receive positive messages from each other and from ourselves. When my daughter was little, I remember she was like 7 or 8, and she was sitting at the kitchen table, and she was drawing this beautiful picture. And on it, she was writing, "I love you, Alyssa," which was one of her little friends in Girl Scouts. And like, she spent hours on this. And I was standing there looking at her and thinking, I really wish you were drawing that for yourself. Because Alyssa, she's a cute kid, but she's not that nice to you. She doesn't deserve you pouring out all this love to her. Why are you doing that? Why aren't you drawing it for yourself? You are incredible. And my daughter, oh my God, she is an incredible, beautiful person. She was the funniest little girl I've ever met, like just sweet. And yet here she was pouring out all her love to somebody who barely was nice to her. And like, don't we do that? Don't we give love all the time, hoping that some comes back to us? So my question is, why don't we give ourselves that love right in the first place? Why don't we draw pictures for ourselves? And then we can share the abundance of love that we have with other people, right? And we can share it without hoping that it's reflected back to us. We don't need them to give back to us the way that we give to them, because we're already full of our own love. Okay? Which isn't to say that it isn't great to be loved by others, right? But let's fill ourselves. I have a note here about, yes, we all want connection. Of course we do. I mean, what is better in human life than connection, right? Connection with other people, but also connection with ourselves. But look at our relationships. A lot of our connections, especially with the most intimate connections we have, with family and closest friends, look how much neediness there is, how much possessiveness and jealousy, how many expectations we have, and how much codependency that we have. I really think that all has to do with not loving ourselves and as deeply as we could, and seeking that love that we can only give ourselves from sources outside of us. Hold on a second. So let's move into 8 steps. How can we love ourselves? The first step I have is make a pact to have your own back. Be in your own corner. What does that mean? Don't engage in negative self-talk. When we have these voices in our heads, right, that we've absorbed our programming from society, from growing up, from school, from the different traumas we've had. So we have these voices, I call them imposter voices. I got that from a lesson in shamanic de-armoring. The imposter voices in our heads say things like, you're not good enough, you're gonna fail at this, why are you even bothering? You know, those voices that call us names. You know, how many of you are say meaner things to yourself than you would ever say to anybody else, right? We're not gonna do that anymore. We're not gonna agree to that. We're not gonna be our own worst critic. It used to be when I would make a mistake, I would be the first one to beat myself up about it. Like, I would make it so much worse on me by like, the image I always had was like, I'd take a stick and beat myself. And I made an agreement to stop doing that. I'm not going to talk negatively about myself. Now, sometimes those voices still come in and I talk back to them. Like, for example, the other day I dropped an egg and I was like, you dumbass. Now, sometimes when I call myself a dumbass, I'm doing it like with humor and affection and amusement. That wasn't the case that day. There was a difference in tone. And I was like, hey, wait a minute, that was mean. I don't deserve that. I'm a sacred being. I can make mistakes. It doesn't change my value. And it doesn't mean I deserve to be talked to in a negative way. So talk back to those voices. Stand up for yourself. Like, one thing I was thinking the other day is how the way I love my daughter, I want to love myself the way I love my daughter. You guys, I don't know if you have children or not, but everybody has somebody they love. Think of the person you love the most in the world, or a couple people. Like, think of how you love them. And if they made a mistake or if they were going through a hard time, how would you treat them? How would you talk to them? Like, if you love somebody unconditionally, and we all deserve to love ourselves unconditionally, we don't call them names. We don't berate them when they make mistakes. We support them and lift them up. When my daughter was little, it was like, if something went wrong, how can I help you? How can we fix this? How can I help you feel better? What do you need? How can I be there for you? How can I help make you happy? Like, I just wanted her to return to happiness. And so can we hold ourselves in that same place? Like, when I'm super disappointed, when my feelings are hurt, yes, be with that hurt, allow that disappointment, and sit with my own true feelings, but also, how can I be loving and supportive of myself through this, through whatever I'm going through? Because I deserve that love. You all deserve that love just as much as the person you love most. Like, whenever something happens that might make you think, that might make you feel judgmental toward yourself or think that you're not okay, think about who you love the most and how would you treat them? And can you bring that same love and compassion and grace to yourself? Dealing with self-criticism, I have a boundary now, even with the voices in my head. We are not talking to me like that anymore. That's just not happening. That's not a conversation we're having. I am a sacred being, and that's how we're going to treat me. Like, I have these conversations with myself. And then also fill yourself up with love. I love you. Even when you're not doing as well as you'd like, even if you're screwing up, no matter what's happening in the outside world, even if you're having a bad hair day, or you burned breakfast, or your significant other broke up with you, whatever's happening, I love you and I am here for you. And you deserve love, you deserve gentleness, you deserve kindness. Like, have that sort of positive self-talk and make it a habit. Talk yourself through life, hold your hand through life. One thing I want to acknowledge always, and to myself and to others, is you don't have to earn your love. You don't have to earn love from yourself, and you don't have to earn love from anybody else. You don't earn your love, you don't earn your value or your worthiness. You already are those things. You already have those things. They're integral to your existence, right? Any thought that you aren't already love is one of those imposter voices. You've been trained that, because if you really sink down into yourself, you'll know that love is who you are. You have nothing to prove or to earn. You deserve love. The second thing is don't tolerate negativity from other people about who you are. So in the first, you don't tolerate negativity from yourself. You have that boundary. Now we're going to expand that boundary. I'm not taking in negative messages from other people. You don't get to talk to me that way. You don't get to put me down. You need to respect me and my boundaries. You respect your own boundaries and your unique beingness. You acknowledge to yourself and to the world that you matter. You are worthy of love. You know it, you own it, and you live it. A lot of people have family members and friends that put them down or that try to tell them what to do or how to live, right? We need to find a way to buffer ourselves from those negative messages, to set boundaries around how we allow other people to talk to us and treat us, and to love ourselves when we're enduring things that we can't necessarily control. Number 3, write yourself love letters and love notes. Now, this might sound silly, but this is one of the best things I feel like I've ever done for myself. I would like, I don't know, does everybody have like a pen or paper with them? Because I would like to just take a couple minutes here and practice writing love notes. They can be long or short. I am going to go find my love letter to myself and post it, the link in the chat, so you can look it up later. But right now, I would just like you to write, I love you in your name. And then write a few nice things about yourself. I see some people smiling, and I love that because I want your love for yourself to make you smile. Like, this is what's great about you. This is why I'm happy to know you and to spend this life with you. So now what I'd like you to do, as you're continuing to write your love note, and I hope you'll do this regularly, and I hope you'll do, like, make it long. Actually, I write to myself every day in my journal. Like, I write a lot. some of it's love notes, but some of it's just sharing, my feelings. But I feel like I'm in constant communication with that inner part of me. And I've started at the end of my journals every day writing, ending with, I love you, Kat, just to have that feedback, right? But what I'd like you to do now, as you continue to write your love note, is start writing some of the things that aren't so great about you. Like, I love you even when you're afraid. I love you even when you aren't as confident as you'd like to be. I love you even when you screw up. Like, there is nothing that you could do that would ever make me stop loving you. You can give yourself that. Just another couple minutes. Write your love for you. Also, you can use words in your love letters, but you can also draw pictures to yourself. Just make something that expresses love, respect, compassion, and deep caring for yourself. They can be short or long. You can draw a heart and put your name in it. I'm going to share what I drew for myself last night. I drew a heart and I put my name in it. And I want to tell you that just looking at this lifts me up. It gives me courage and confidence to go into my day. On the top, I wrote, you are loved. You are surrounded by love. And then I wrote on the bottom, you are enough. You are loved. You are safe. So like, make art for yourself that fills you, that supports you. You can do this for other people too. How great would it be if we had a world that shared messages like this all the time? Okay. I did another one this morning. These are just messages. Messages that you want to tell yourself, right? This one is, I have nothing to prove. That was an important one for me today, because if I felt like I had something to prove this morning, first of all, I couldn't be of service. I couldn't be authentic. I'd be stuck in my head. So I needed this message. You have nothing to prove.
Usually helps you.
Also, I am enough already. I am enough already. I am already me. I am already me. Like, I'm always developing, I'm always changing, I'm infinite possibilities, but I'm already me. I'm already here. I'm enough. All is well. I am everything I need to be in every moment. Like, give yourself these affirmations so that it takes the pressure off, so that you're not stuck in your head. You're not stuck trying to prove that you belong here. You belong here. You already belong here. You're already loved. Like, I wish everyone understood how precious they are. Like, it's breathtaking how precious you are. And it's hard to even grasp that, right? Nothing can change my worthiness. It doesn't matter if I totally screw something up. I can try anything I want. I can fail as much as I want. I can succeed as much as I want. And nothing changes my worthiness because I don't earn my worthiness. I am worthiness, right? I'm not defined by any moment, by any mistake, by any success, any thought, anything at all. Nothing defines me. Nothing defines you. I am indefinable. I am infinite possibilities. I am love, and I am loved. Like, own that for yourself. Write it out, draw it out. The next, number 4, is called mirror work. It's something that I learned from the Human Awareness Institute. They do workshops on love, intimacy, and sexuality. Their website, if you're interested in looking them up, is hai.org. And the way mirror work is you look into the mirror. It's nice if you have a little handheld mirror, but you can do it in any mirror. And look into your eyes and say, I love you. And do it for like 5 minutes. Just keep saying it over and over again. I love you. Now, I didn't ask you to bring mirrors today, but most of you have pictures, or your face is on the screen right now. If you would look into your face, your own eyes, and say, I know we can't hear you, but I want you to say it out loud anyway. I love you, and then your name. So I'm going to look and say, I love you, Kat. So everybody look and say, I love you, and your name. And how does that feel? Just notice it. Don't judge it. How does that feel? And do it again. I love you. Okay. And be with yourself in that. And I guarantee if you do that as a daily practice for 5 minutes a day for 3 weeks in a row, it'll change your life. I love you. And you don't have to just keep it to I love you, but you could. You could just say I love you over and over again for 5 minutes. You could say it out loud, or you could say it silently. Just meet your own eyes in the mirror. I love you. I don't have to do, I did that for a long time. I don't have to do it for 5 minutes a day anymore. But I'll tell you what, every time I pass a mirror, I smile at myself and say, I love you. Smile, wink, flirt with yourself. Like, why not enjoy yourself? I remember being a teenager and looking in the mirror on days when I looked really good. Like I was wearing the coolest clothes and I was like, or maybe I was just in my bra, like just checking this out, right? And feeling like I'm so sad that there's nobody here to see me. Like I'm so sad there's nobody here to appreciate how good I'm looking right now. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm here. I'm appreciating this. I am enough. I don't need somebody else to be appreciating. I mean, yeah, it's great when you have somebody else to appreciate you, but don't negate the value of your own appreciation, right? You're amazing. Every one of you is amazing. Like, look at that face. Look at the miracle of that face. Like, look in the mirror and touch this face. Like, you're all so unique and beautiful. I mean, like, just absorb the incredibleness of you, right? Absorb. It's impossible to fully comprehend what a miracle every one of us is, right? But start with yourself and the people you love, and like just notice, like just let your heart open. The more you open your heart to yourself, the more you can open it in an unguarded and just totally loving way to other people. Okay, number 5. Make a commitment to yourself. Kind of like marriage. Like you could even do vows if you want. You can write down vows and promises you make to you. Since you are your partner for life, why not marry yourself? When I was a teenager, I read about a woman who did marry herself, threw a whole party and everything, had a reception, had gifts brought. Like, I was like, that is genius. I even designed a ring I wanted to give myself when I grew up. It said love, peace, and joy on it around the band. I never did make that, but I'm still alive, so it might happen one day. But like, think about what you would ask a partner to provide to you. If you were agreeing to share your life with somebody, what would you want them to give you? Like in terms of emotional support and everything else. If you love flowers, for example, why are you waiting for somebody else to give them to you? Give that to yourself. Write down the things that you want. You don't need to get it from somebody else. It's not more meaningful because it comes from somebody else. It's just as meaningful if it comes from you, from your own heart. What could be more precious? Have a ceremony if you like. You can do it with other people or you can do it by yourself. I've had several ceremonies of commitment to myself where I light candles, where I have flowers, where I have chocolate and wine, or, however you celebrate you and do it as often as you like. Do it every day if you want. Like, why? Why not? Like, celebrate your life every day. Number 6, say I love you to yourself multiple times a day. Just random. Now, some of you grew up in homes where love was expressed easily. And some of you might have grown up in homes where nobody ever said I love you out loud. They showed it in different ways or didn't. I don't know. Everybody has a different background. But what I want you to understand is you deserve love. And you deserve to be able to express love to yourself and to others. Whether that's your comfortable background or not, you can still own that today. You can still make that a normal part of your self-conversation and your conversation with other people. Right? I love you. Are those words comfortable for you? I love you. Sometimes I hesitate to say I love you to friends or to people I love. I used to be much worse about it. Now it's easier for me. And it shocks me a little when I struggle to say it to somebody. When I'm really deeply feeling it, it's like, why isn't it coming out? I think there's a fear in me that my love isn't enough, or that it won't be treasured by the other person. But when I'm telling myself I love me, when I'm really holding myself in that space, that fear goes away because I know my love is enough. I know I'm good enough. And I also know if that person doesn't receive it the way I intended it, that I'm still going to come back to my self-love, right? It doesn't affect who I am. To be rejected, to be not valued, other people's perceptions of me are not who I am. And so I always want to come back to this self-love. I love you. Which reminds me, I've been wanting to introduce this to Awkwardly Zen for a while. And I just didn't know a good time to do it, but this is a really good time to do it. So, we have the hand wiggle. That's like, I agree with you, I see you, I hear you. Well, I want to introduce you to what we do in HI, the Human Awareness Institute, at our workshops, is I love you. That can also mean I see you, I'm here with you, I'm holding you in a space of love. I love you. Like, give that to yourself and each other liberally. I love you. I've got you. Number 7, embrace your body, your nudity, and your sexuality. Now, next week, we're going to be talking about sacred sexuality. I'm not going to focus on that right now. But I would like to say that embracing your body as it is, and more than probably any other negative message we receive messages that our bodies aren't okay, that we need to hide them, that we should be embarrassed of them, that we need to make them smaller or bigger or whatever. I want you to take time in the mirror, looking not just in your eyes, but looking at your whole body. Love every bit of your body. Love the parts they say aren't okay. Society, right? When I was growing up, I was always very ashamed of my belly. No matter how thin I was, my belly stuck out, right? When I got older, I got a lot fatter. And now I love my belly. It's big and round and perfect for me, We should all feel, no shoulds. We are all invited to feel at home in our body. Whatever size you are, whatever shape you are, whatever gender you are, whatever age you are, whatever color you are. There's so much beautiful diversity in this world, right? And every one of us is like a miracle that deserves to be completely appreciated and loved as we are. Your scars that show what you've lived through, all the different things. Just like, take time to own every bit of who you are. And I think it's worth taking time to spend time in the nude. A lot of people mix up sexuality and nudity. You can be nude without sexuality playing any part of it. Like, you can be in your body, just in your own skin, right? And just enjoy the miracle that is you and have no shame about who you are. One of the most helpful things that I've done in terms of body acceptance in my life is that I went to a nudist resort, and I actually ended up living there for 8 years. And just to have that freedom to be in my body without shame was incredibly healing. Like, to know that you are loved for the person you are inside, and has nothing to do with this body. That there's no judgment necessary. There's no hiding necessary. It's an incredible experience. And number 8, give yourself some grace. There's no right. There's no perfect. We need compassion for ourselves. Being human is not easy. There's nothing easy about it. There's nothing easy about relationships, falling in love, being in love. None of that's easy. There's nothing easy about dealing with family, dealing with friends and illnesses and things that are going on in the world. It's all hard. We get through it by loving each other and loving ourselves. And yes, a lot of it is joy and pleasure as well. But life is hard for everybody, right? Some people seem to have it better. Some people put on a good mask, a good facade about how great they're doing. Everybody has a core in them that feels pain. Everybody's lost somebody or suffered something, right? We all are human. So, like, we've got to give ourselves grace. We all fail. Like, we don't know things until we know them, right? Like Maya Angelou says, you do the best you can where you are. And when you learn better, you do better. Something like that. That wasn't a direct quote, but yeah. When you learn better, you do better. I've made tons of mistakes in my life, some of them multiple times, the same thing. I give myself grace. We all deserve that. What else are we going to do, right? There's a card in the Gaia deck. This is my favorite oracle cards. And there's a card in here. It's the yin yang card. And what I love about it is it invites you to make a list of all your so-called negative qualities, right? Like, so write a list. I'm really impatient. I'm, the things that you perceive as negative. And then after you make that list, consider each of those qualities has some sort of benefit, okay? And then think about what are the benefits of that? So, like, what would the benefit of my being impatient mean? Well, if I'm impatient, I'm actively trying to get what I want and do what I want. That's actually a good, like, you can flip it. That actually has a benefit to the world. I keep things moving and keep things like in a good timing because I'm not going to wait around. I'm not somebody that procrastinates. Something like that. Then you make a list because it's yin yang, it's balance. You make a list of your quote unquote positive qualities. And then consider some negative aspects of those positive qualities. And what you find is that everything that is a part of you actually has benefit, even what you consider negative. So that lets you sort of keep it in perspective. Like, you aren't a failure. This is just your uniqueness that you bring to life, the thing that you manifest. And it all flows. You're not stuck being any certain thing, right? And it gives you the opportunity to understand that everything that you are is a gift that you bring to the world. Just in the exact way that the package that is you is meant to bring it. You are lovable and worthy exactly as you are, without changing a single thing. You can change anything you want. You're always at choice in your life. But you, even as you change, you can accept and love yourself just the way you are in every stage. Okay. All right, so those are the 8 things. At this point, I'd like to know if there are any questions or if we want to do a guided meditation. What do you think, Ari?
Well, let's see if there are any questions that pop up. Hold on, let me change my view. I'm going to go ahead and stop the or pause the recording just so people are free to ask their questions. And then if you do the guided meditation, somebody remind me to turn on the recording. Not up until now, I haven't been. All right, good to go.
Okay, so this is a self-love journey meditation. And what I'd like you to do is get comfortable. And if it's comfortable for you, I'd like you to close your eyes. Take a few slow, deep breaths as you drop your consciousness down into your body. Breathe in and breathe out. Let your awareness be with your breath. As you connect to your breath, your body, and yourself. Breathe in and breathe out. In your mind's eye, I invite you to see a path before you. This is your path to your sacred space, so it can look however you would like. It might be a dirt path leading into a forest. It might be a sandy path leading you toward a spot on a beach. Your path could be filled with flowers. Move gently along your path, breathing in the fresh air, hearing the sounds of nature around you, knowing that you are completely safe. Breathe in and breathe out. Look around you and find 2 comfy chairs. Settle yourself into one of the comfy chairs and notice as yourself settles into the chair across from you. You are now sitting with yourself. Open your heart to yourself. You two have a lot to talk about. Breathe together. Breathe in and breathe out. Can you feel the love and goodwill between you? Yourself is there to listen to you and support you. Share with yourself any concerns, fears, disappointments, worries, or judgments you are carrying. Feel yourself take your burdens from you as they listen while you share. I'll give you a few minutes to just share with yourself. This is how I'm feeling. Watch as yourself transmutes your fears and burdens into light and love. And how when they open their hands, the lights and love fly away like butterflies. Now you can ask yourself any questions you may have. What do you want to know? What decisions do you need help making? How can I love myself better? How can I support myself better? What do you need? I'll give you a few moments to ask your questions. What does yourself need to tell you? Okay. You will easily remember everything that you need to remember for now. Feel the warmth of love surrounding you and sinking into every cell in your body as yourself integrates back into the whole of you. You can call on yourself at any time for love, wisdom, solace, advice, or anything you need. I now invite you to walk back along your path into this present moment and time, bringing with you all that you need from this inner journey. Come back, and when the moment is right for you, you can open your eyes. Wiggle your fingers and toes, come back into your body, knowing that you can always connect with yourself. That reminds me, number 9, listen to yourself. How often do we not listen to what we need, you know? How often do we ignore the voice that's crying for attention? Yeah. Our inner self tells us what we need, what matters to us. Are we listening? Okay, so I was thinking that I don't know if anybody would want to share their love letters.
I'm going to go ahead and stop recording.
Yeah.